Yes.
So we will now review the charge that the state your parole officer is bringing against you and information underlying each charge. So P.O. Sheehan, if you can please read the charges.
Sure. Charge 1 for residence. On 11/14/2023, you were released from York CI and placed at Rise Halfway House in New Haven after your special parole was reinstated. At this time, Rise Halfway House was the only approved residence. On 11/14/2023, the same day you were placed at Rise, you told staff you were leaving and walked out the door without permission from staff or your assigned parole officer. You made no attempts to contact Halfway House staff or parole officer. To date, your whereabouts were unknown in the community. Based on your actions, you were in violation of release direction residence. And charge 2, absconder. On 11/14/2023, you were released from York CI and placed at Rise Halfway House in New Haven after your special parole was reinstated. At the time, Rise Halfway House was your only approved residence. On 11/14/2023, the same day you were placed at Rise Halfway House, you told staff you were leaving and walked out the front door without permission from staff or your assigned parole officer. You made no attempts to contact Halfway House staff or your parole officer. To date, your whereabouts were unknown in the community. Based on your actions, you are in violation of release direction absconder.
Thank you. And the state filed the following exhibits that are pre-marked for identification purposes as Exhibit A, signed statement of understanding and agreement, conditions of parole. B, special parole acknowledgement agreement. C, Connecticut Board of Parole remand and custody order. D, notice of parole violation. E, parole violation report. F, notice of parole rights. G, Rise Women's Program Residential Handbook. H, Halfway House Agreement, Rise Halfway House. And I is Rise Halfway House Incident Report. Did you receive notice of parole violation report, and the other documents I marked, and did you review them?
Yes.
Okay. And counsel filed the following exhibit pre-marked for identification purposes. Defense Exhibit 1, list of parole accomplishments and future plans for parole reinstatement. Do you need to continue this hearing to obtain any additional evidence? No. We have no witnesses. So at this time, the state will have an opportunity to speak to any of the evidence submitted. P.O. Sheehan, I'm just going to swear you under oath so you can speak today. If you can raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or sincerely affirm as the case can be, the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and with the truth so help you God upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right. Would you like to say anything in regards to the violation?
No, I think that the violation report can speak for itself.
Okay, so it's now defense opportunity to speak at this time.
Yes. Good morning, P.O. Sheehan. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. All right. Quick question. I know the facts here speak for themselves. The same day that my client was placed at the halfway house, November 14th of 2023, it's the same day she left the program, correct?
Correct.
All right. She was picked up, it appears, by the fugitive unit and Fairfield Police on January 29th, 2024.
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Okay. Were you present when they picked her up?
I was not.
Okay. As her assigned parole officer, as far as you know, she did not, from November 14th to January 29th of 2024. As far as you know, my client did not pick up any criminal cases along the way, correct?
As far as I know.
Okay. As far as you know, as right now, she does not have any pending court dates anywhere. She's not currently being held on bond anywhere, correct?
No.
Okay. So once again, she was out one day. We know that. I did speak to my client, and I will get into it a little bit more on the second part of the hearing. It appears her grandmother passed away on August 21st. Her mother passed away on November 1st, 2023, and her grandfather passed away on November 30th, 2023. Not making excuses for my clients. They should have been handled differently after speaking to her, but she does suffer from some mental health illness, and now she realized she's been incarcerated since January 29th of 2024. She has taken her medication, and have had an opportunity to speak to her is a little more clear-headed now. But these are the facts as presented. I'm not disputing what's here, but I would get a little bit more into her background at the appropriate time.
So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to announce my findings. So on charge 1, I do find you violated condition of restriction residence based on the evidence provided, exhibits E and I. On charge 2, I find you violated condition of restriction absconder based on a warrant being issued by the BOPP and evidence provided in support of that charge, exhibits E and I. That includes the fact-finding portion of the hearing. Before I make a recommendation, the state will have an opportunity to speak to your background and history. After the state is finished, council will have the same opportunity. This purpose part of the hearing is to help determine what outcome I will recommend. So P.O. Sheehan, would you like to say anything in regards to the second part of the hearings?
Yeah, because I do not really know Miss Ekberg Peak very well. But when I look through the history of her escapes, this is her fourth escape. And each time she's placed in a halfway house, within days, weeks, or even hours, she's just left. I'm really concerned about her getting treatment on the outside because she doesn't cooperate with even staying at the halfway house long enough to even connect with treatment. And it sounds like she's getting treatment inside. And I think it's really important for us to stabilize her a little bit more than just a few weeks. It's really concerning that she's not even willing to start treatment on the outside. I'm very concerned about that for her safety.
Thank you. Okay, council, like to say anything?
Yes, I don't disagree with the parole officer just put on a record. My client is on supervision until 2033, so she still has quite a bit of time left. As I previously indicated, she does suffer from some mental health issues. There's 3 deaths in a short period of time. I'm not making excuses for her, but as the parole officer, she indicated she is getting treatment at York. She did meet with a psychiatrist, and she also receives methadone. So she is clear-headed at this time, and I would like for her to continue that when she's out in the community at some point. But my client does understand she needs to get on track because she has 9 years left of supervision. She's 39 years old. She did take some prerequisite classes in Naugatuck Valley Community College in Waterbury, and on a previous incarceration, she did take some general studies from Middlesex. Due to her mental health history, she does not have a previous work history. She does want to complete some college to get a psychology degree. And as far as somewhere down the road, she is interested in being placed in a halfway house. Bridgeport is the first choice, and New Haven is her second choice. And she does want to re-enroll to obtain her master's in psychology, as I indicated. She's done some IOP in the past. Looks like in September 2022, Bridgeport, and then she transferred to the recovery network, the J Brothers. As I said, I did speak to her. She knows she needs to get on track. She knows she needs to take her medication. I think she's off to the right start as far as since she's been at York. She did meet with the psychiatrist, and she's currently taking her medication. Ms. Peak, anything you want to add regarding your parole officer is right on point. Once you're reinstated, you need to engage in treatment, and it can't be, that one day, you're out one day. I mean, you're making it difficult for me. And you're making it difficult for your parole officer because we don't have a track record. And I know you're capable of doing it. And after speaking to you via telephone, you're kind of coherent now. You're taking your meds to do what you're supposed to do. You need to get yourself on track.
Yeah. I do want to say, I know that it does look as if this is just a pattern of behavior. And I do understand that. And, this time it really was just I was just grieving so much. Even before my grandfather died, it was just with my mother and my grandmother, I was scared to leave here, but I didn't have a choice. When they say you're leaving for a halfway house, you're leaving for a halfway house. And I know that I have a long time left on parole, but I was actually informed by the officers that when they brought me up here, that if I can get even just half of the time done like under my belt. I don't have to do the whole amount of time. And to me, that large amount of time seems daunting. And I believe that if I take it just day by day, once I finally do get back out into the community, I can actually do it. If I get myself into some sort of treatment and start college and start getting myself a routine, I can complete this stuff. I can actually do it for myself. I just can't. I believe that for me, if I keep coming back here and just being stored away in jail over and over and over, it's just prolonging my life, and I keep doing it to myself. And I understand that. And I don't want to keep doing that to myself. And I know that I make it difficult for all of you when I do this. And I don't want to keep doing that. And I'm just very, very sorry that we're here today because of me. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, so as was noted by your parole officer, you do have two prior absconding violations on this period of supervision alone. And that is concerning that you leave the same day when we want you to get help and be involved in treatment. That's why you're on supervision, is so you can have help. So you are making it difficult on yourself. You know, we're here to support you. And I hope that when you come out next time that you take advantage of that support you have. So, I mean, I'm gonna be right with you with a recommendation. So I'm going to make a recommendation that parole be revoked to be re-paroled for October 29th, 2024. This is about a 9-month period. As a sanction, I recommend the following parole conditions: halfway house placement, no consumption of alcoholic beverages, mental health treatment, no contact with victim ME without PO's permission. I'm going to present your case to the parole board on March 14th. They're going to make the decision on what happens. They can let you out sooner. They can hold you in longer, or they can agree with my recommendation. I hope that you get settled before you come back out so that you can do the right thing and be successful. Do you have any questions about anything?
No, just that's a long time. Like,
Unfortunately, when you keep running from supervision, it's not.
But last time, the only reason I got so long was because I had other charges. Now you're telling me I got that long for basically nothing. Now I'm gonna get 9 months and I didn't even get other charges.
It's not basically nothing. You need to report to your parole officer and not. That's a recommendation. That's just a recommendation. The parole board is going to make a decision March 14th, and then you're going to know about a week after that what their decision is. So this is not final word. This is a recommendation.
Yeah,
so
but they're going to go along with your recommendation. That's what they do.
It's up to the parole board. It's up to the parole board. So you're all set for today, and you'll know, like I said, about a week after March 14th. So I wish you the best of luck.
When people kill themselves because of you, that's on you.
When people kill themselves, that's on you. That's just, it's unbelievable. What did she expect the result to be? But you know what it is? It's that after being coddled by the system for really her entire life, she was shocked that, oh my gosh, there's going to be consequences for my actions. This is her third time considered to be escaping, her third. And she said, well, the other 2 times I only got more time because I picked up another charge. I mean, she actually thought that she was going to come into this parole revocation hearing after running away day one and just get away with a slap on the wrist. That was her expectation. It's remarkable, but you probably can't blame her because that's probably what's been happening for all the years of her doing time. The parole board, they didn't comment at all after she made that statement. I didn't cut it out, and I shared everything with you. And frankly, I mean, I think they should probably put her on a live watch, right? If anything, it'd be some type of punishment. But I wonder, you would think there'd be some type of legal obligation if the warden was there. If a CO heard that, they'd probably say, "Wow, well, you just made a threat, so we're going to have to now put you on a live watch," which we all know is very uncomfortable. What was interesting, though, is that she didn't say, if I decide to take that action. She said, when someone does. And it's like, just get over yourself. You literally got out of prison on special parole and you left the halfway house day one. You couldn't make it one day. And then the thing is, she, even in this hearing, blames the DOC. She said, I wasn't ready to get out, but when they send you to halfway house, you have to go. It's like, so you didn't want to leave. So then great, you're back where you wanted to be then, right? Like you just, people, you can't fix. It's like this mentality. I don't know what it is, but it's it's funny. Even her defense attorney was I guess he did the best he could do, but it was interesting to hear him kind of take the approach of writing was on the wall kind of thing. Yeah, she did have all those deaths, and that's got to be that, that's something that can make anyone, but to just leave day one. It's also interesting how they said, in Connecticut, they love to put people on methadone. It's just something that they do. We see it all the time. So they put her up on methadone, which I think tells us that, it's like, that means when she got out, she probably, you assume that she picked up some habits that she had to get back on methadone. They don't bring that up, right? But I don't know if you picked up on it, how they said, and no getting in contact with the victim unless, and they gave the initials. And Richard shared different reports of what she's done. We'll go over some of it, but one of the things that she did was actually assaulting her 14-year-old daughter. So that's one of the victims she's not allowed to get in touch with. So before you start feeling bad for her, she's got a long track record of doing not nice things, to say the least. So she has her 2014. She has her larceny 5th degree, sentenced to 3 years with suspended after serving just 1 year. And her probation was terminated in 2017, so she didn't do well on that probation. Then she has another offense date in 2015, where it was conspiracy to commit assault, 2nd degree, sentenced to 5 years, but suspended after 18 months, with probation of 3 years. And also conspiracy to commit robbery, sentenced to 1 year. And I can get into what that one was. She actually did have one. So she had one charge where she was at the casino, I guess with her boyfriend or someone she knew, and somehow they ended up in a car with another woman, and it was that woman's car, and they pushed that woman out of her car while it was moving down the road and stole her car. and she broke her nose and got all messed up, and they eventually found them. So she picked up charges for that. Oh, that's what this one is. In 2016, she got assault first degree. And she got a 6-year sentence with 10-year special parole. We'll talk about special parole in a second. We've done it a few times, but we can bring it up again what that means. And she also got violation of protective order, which I'm guessing is something to do with her daughter, but I don't know. And then you go to March 4th, 2022, which was the escape. Like this is her third escape. It's her third. So what did she get for the escape? So she got 1 year jail, but it was suspended after 120 days. Okay. So this is here. If you want to look for the pattern, her last escape in March 28th of 2022, she was only punished 120 days, which, so she maybe thought she would only get that. And then 5/14/2023, she got larceny 6th, interfering with an officer. She was sentenced to 364 days of jail. Execution, suspended, probation 3 years. It's not clear. Then she has violation of probation in 2/1/2024, which is what we just handled now. So, I mean, I don't feel bad for her at all. It was interesting. She came into this hearing really with the expectation that she would just get a slap on the wrist, maybe another 90 days with time served or something. And she didn't get that big of a sentence anyway. She got 9 months. And it's, she's back in all this time. But so anyways, what Connecticut has this interesting thing that they call special parole. And I'm not quite sure if I understand how I feel about it yet. It's interesting. So what it is that when the judge gives a sentence, there's something automatically baked into the sentence, which means that it basically is your release date. So you get a 5-year sentence followed by X number of years of special parole, and that means it's if you violate that special parole, you then are backing all that time. And in some ways, I think it's more strict when you have those special parole conditions because it enforces all that time that you're backing when you get out, that you have to be on good behavior. And we do see people that sometimes you can still get parole before your special parole date, but you still do have that special parole that you're backing. So when you see some of these lenient sentences with 5 years but 10-year special parole, this person you're hanging with that over your head for 10 years, and that's pretty intense. And maybe it gives these judges some more leeway for giving lighter sentences, thinking, hey, the inmate shouldn't reoffend. But it's not like you're backing the whole thing anyways, because as we see, you can get let out, escape day 1, and then it's up to the parole officers to then say, okay, well, it'll just be 9 months. Now, as they mentioned at the next part, so these aren't technically parole officers. These are, they're like lower level. What happens after this is the official parole board members, I should say parole officers, sorry. Parole board members who was just talking are not parole board members, but the parole board members then review the recommendations by who we just saw. And they basically, it's like a session that takes like 30 minutes. They cover all the cases of the past 2 weeks, and they'll just say, okay, recommendation, blah, 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 blah. And they'll say approved, approved, approved. So we haven't seen any, Richard and I, where they haven't approved it. You have to assume that there's some percentage that they would approve or make maybe changes to conditions and things like that. Otherwise, why have the process? But if for some reason they change the recommendation, I'll put that in the comment section and pin it. instead of, just playing that 10-second clip of them approving the sentence. I hope I didn't lose you on that explanation. But anyways, probably wouldn't believe it if you didn't see it, and now you did. And thank you, Richard. With that, I'll let you.